thanks for watching. This is part 2 of a 2-part series on the 20 most common reasons I'm running into why people like you and I aren't connecting to the kind of health care that we need and definitely deserve when it comes to trauma and mental health. This is part 2 of the 2-part series, so I'm going to be starting on item number 11 for this video and finishing through to 20. If you want to check out the first 10, be sure to watch part 1 of this series. All right, so now we're going to start from 11 and work our way to 20. It's part 2. Let's get going. Number 11. I'm never going to stop suffering. My suffering is my revenge. Now, a lot of times this one doesn't come out as an outward expression. It can be more of a subconscious feeling, especially if I was victimized by another person. Why would I get over that? Why would I move on? Why would I stop being angry and furious? Why would I in any way lessen my reaction to that if there's any chance whatsoever that that person who hurt me sees that? It's going to feel like I got over it or I forgave them or something. And sometimes we will hang on to the pain and the suffering that we have as almost an unconscious devotion to the idea that we are never going to let the person who hurt us forget what they did to us. It can be that big of a deal. It was that big of a deal. It can still hurt you, but moving on from that and allowing yourself access to healing or things that may improve your quality of life in no way cut that person off the hook. And I would encourage you to try to separate that idea in your mind if that means it will free you up to try and reach out and get some help. Number 12. If I reach out for help, someone might try to use that against me. None of these things are actually incorrect things to think, feel, or believe. And this one in particular comes with a stern warning, I should say. There are lots of people out there who will take some of your deepest, most private information and they can use it against you. It's called weaponizing your trauma. They can turn your trauma into a weapon to deny you access to things like promotions at work, access to your kids, certain kinds of responsibilities and power, a career path that's worth a damn. It's a very real thing when we tell the wrong person our most intimate private details. The beauty of a true professional and someone who's not a part of your intimate inner circle is they're going to be able to give you some really objective perspective on your situation.
What are you doing?
I'm burying you.
I'm alive, man, I'm alive.
They're not going to let you bury yourself alive. They're not going to use the information as a weapon against you to try to manipulate or control you. Whereas people who are closer to your inner circle, it's entirely possible they may have ulterior motives.
This is your fault.
If you don't really, truly know and trust someone, be very careful with the information that you give them. This is a real thing to worry about, but I still think it's worth finding someone we can trust so that we can break free from this limiting truth. Number 13. I am not going to play into the stereotypes. A good friend of mine, Chris, she told me about this one. She talks about how, for example, she's moved through her life fighting this idea, this stereotype that women are crazy. And then suddenly, if you experience something that's difficult for you and that may push you to a place where you require some help, you may have this really burned in resistance to getting help because you don't want to live up to the stereotype that you've been fighting your whole life, which is that, in her case, women are crazy. That was an example that she gave. Maybe there's other stereotypes that you have a real strong aversion to that you've been pushing against and fighting against your whole life, and to reach out and get help might make it seem as though the stereotype was true. Listen, you can push against stereotypes and receive the help that you need. The beauty about getting help is you don't have to announce it from the rooftops. So if you're talking to the right kind of person, if they're not, again, in your innermost circle and they have a level of objectivity, there's a real good chance that it's not going to come down to this. You're not going to have to sacrifice those stereotypes that you've been standing against in deference to the fact that you do need a little help right now. Both can be true. I don't want to reinforce stereotypes, but yeah, occasionally I may need some help, and I'm going to go ahead and get that too. Number 14. I'm afraid of what may be discovered or uncovered if I expose myself to some sort of help. We may think, look, I know that there's something not quite right with me and I'm gonna go in for a closer look and get help, but I'm terrified that somebody's gonna open Pandora's box and I'm gonna be faced with this new monster that's released. You know, I know what it's like for me now, and it's difficult and it's hard, but I know what it is, and I'd rather dance with the devil I know than invite a new devil in for dinner. So a lot of times we'll stay with the pain we know because we're afraid of unlocking something that we just weren't quite ready for. Also very real, but if you can communicate this to the people you're leaning on, they can become a part of protecting you, making sure that you're not sideswiped or blown away by something big and new. Plus, if something does hit you, they're going to be there to have your back and be supportive for you. Number 15. Binary thinking. I don't feel terrible and therefore I must be well. This is somewhat subtle, but this is a real thing too, that there is no gradation. There's no variant between doing perfect and being my worst possible self. The truth is that you can not feel all that bad. You can feel just kind of sort of a little, maybe not in your sweet spot, and that's still a good enough reason to seek the kind of help that you may need. Find a book, find a podcast, find a website, or see a professional who may specialize in the area that you're struggling in.
Why don't I start? Huh?
Or a good friend, a family member, somebody that you trust. Just because you're not living a life that feels totally wrecked doesn't mean there isn't room for some improvement. Think about your car. Does it make sense to only take your car into the shop once it gets T-boned at an intersection? Or do we take our cars in for regular maintenance and checkups so that along the way we can make incremental improvements so we aren't constantly bringing our car to the shop when it's just flat broken?
What'd you do?
It's more expensive to fix when it's that way. Sometimes it can't be fixed. I find that it's a great idea to keep working on ourselves in between feeling perfectly fine and perfectly awful. It's in the middle where a lot of the great work can happen. Number 16. I don't have time to deal with this. My life is already crazy. Life is more hectic, it feels like, than it's ever been before, with kids and families and all the things that are going on.
Mr. McDonald wet himself, Daddy!
The idea of slowing down enough to read a book, or to do a lot of journaling or note-taking, or to research something, or to dig, or to go see a therapist, and God forbid, spend money on that. There are so many reasons why we can say, I've got bigger fish to fry. I don't have time for this right now.
Son, you got a panty on your head.
Dealing with things while they're a lot smaller, incrementally as you go along, will ultimately take some time now, but save you so much time down the line. Number 17. I wouldn't even know where, how, or when to begin. Look, the best time to start moving is as soon as you feel ready. When I say ready, I mean you feel curious, you feel well supported, you feel somewhat safe, you don't feel like it's going to be a huge risk for you to move forward, and you feel like all your ducks are in a row to begin moving. Where? Again, you're watching a YouTube video. Check out YouTube, check out your local library. How? I really believe that we are our own healers, so listen to your own intuition. Ask yourself endless questions. Why do I feel this way? And then when you get an answer, yeah, but why is that the answer? And then when you get an answer, well, why is that the answer? Be like that little annoying kid who just keeps asking, why? Why? But why? Why? If you do that, you're well on your way already. As soon as you feel the spark of excitement, possibility, hope, curiosity, that's when. Number 18. If no one can understand or take me seriously, I risk a bigger exposure. You go, you pour your heart out to somebody, and they don't understand, and maybe they even misunderstand. Maybe they then begin to tell you that something's wrong that isn't wrong. And now you're exposed, and now you feel like vulnerable, and you're ashamed and you're embarrassed. And again, maybe it's been weaponized against you. It is a real risk to open yourself up and to say, these are my problems. Once again, this is why I say it's really important to find someone objective, someone who's not in too close, someone that you can trust, someone that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt is not going to try and force some different understanding on you, or tell you that you're wrong for feeling the way that you feel, or tell you what you should do about it. You want someone who will hold space for you, give you room to explore, ask questions, and find the answers for yourself. Number 19. So far, I've only had bad experiences when it comes to seeking help. By now, we've probably all heard the phrase, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, which basically means I should be learning from my mistakes and not trying a thing more than a couple of times. But when it comes to our own mental health and wellness, I gotta be honest, we should be willing, not only for our own sake, but for the sake of the people who love us and live around us, to take as many turns at bat as we can possibly take in order to get it right.
There's no crying in baseball!
I didn't mean to do that.
Let's face it, health, wellness, and happiness, being comfortable in your own skin, having a life that is worth living, that's not something you want to give up on just because you've had bad experiences. So what do you do then? Well, one place I would start would be to say, where have I been going for help, and can I take that in a totally new direction? It's very common for us to take our best swing by doing things that already feel comfortable for us. But the truth is, some of the reason we stay stuck is because we're not moving outside of our trusted, comfortable spaces. And if I can just be blunt, sometimes healing lies out there where you're not quite feeling comfortable. So that's what we mean when we talk about taking risks. It's totally worth taking note when things are not working, but don't use that as your excuse to quit. Use that as the opportunity to say, what have I been trying and how can I change that up? And number 20. I'm just not ready yet. There is a time and a place. Sometimes you're ready and sometimes you're not quite there yet. I definitely believe there is something to be said for preparation, for gearing up, for finding your feet, finding your courage, finding the things that you may want to pursue, defining the areas that you're maybe not interested in, setting up some boundaries, setting up some frameworks or some goals for yourself. You don't have to be ready all the time. In fact, you could even be getting help and at some point say, you know what, I want to take a time out. I need a pause. I've been doing some work. I've got some stuff to work with, some things to think about, some material to chew on, but I'm not ready to move forward right now, so I'm going to take a pause. I'm just not ready doesn't always mean I'm not ready to start for the very first time. It can also mean I need a little break. I want to slow things down. I want to take what I've already gotten and spend some time with it. Spend some time letting it sink in, letting myself make sense of it, letting myself process. If you found this video to be useful and you like what I'm doing on YouTube, please would you mind subscribing to the channel, hit the bell button so you're alerted anytime I post new content, like the video, comment on the video, leave questions, and please share these videos. Share them anywhere you think people may run into them and find them to be encouraging or helpful in some way. Until I see you again, remember, be safe, stay curious, give grace, make love, and be truly alive. Thanks for watching.